second part of organized planning. So one of the first things to jump out at me, and this might have been me catching up a little bit from the last time, was when we get into the 10 major causes of failure in leadership, the one that I think stood out the most to me personally was expectation of pay for what they know instead of what they do that which they know. And I'll tell you, I think that that's a big flaw for me, is that I'm like, why don't these clients work with me? I know so much, compared to the next guy, the knowledge, I know a lot, I can help with a lot of things, and just being reminded here that it's not about what we know, it's about what we do, and the things that we do are why we actually attract, people to us as leaders. So, you got anything on that, Nick?
Well, he says something similar to that. Oh man, I wrote that down in my notes. But he said something similar about the expectation of it's what you can give, not what you can get.
Yep.
Something along those lines, right? And I think that we forget sometimes when you have knowledge and you have a process and you have a plan, that might not be the exact value that that person wants. You have to understand what you can give them.
Yeah, I like that. And in order to give, you have to do. You have to do.
Is that the part that I was talking about, the probationary period too? I might have gone too far.
I don't know.
I think that was last week, the probation thing.
Was it?
And then again, this could be recapping some of last week too, but where it says some of the fertile fields in which new leadership will be required. I just thought it was super ironic given our times. First, in the field of politics, there is a most insistent demand for new leaders, a demand which indicates nothing less than an emergency. The majority of politicians have seemingly become high-grade, legalized racketeers. They have increased taxes and debauched the machinery of industry and business until the people can no longer stand the burden. This was 100 years ago. Holy cow.
We haven't fixed that one yet.
We have not fixed that one yet. The number one need. I thought that was pretty crazy. So what do you guys think about the how to apply for a position, how he breaks this down?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Oh.
It was in that part.
Okay.
How I was talking about the probationary period and how they were you just prove it first and then maybe they'll pay you back in the probationary if you prove yourself.
Oh, so you mean you have to show your
work,
capability and then get paid?
Which I was like, that is super interesting because I've never heard of anybody saying that.
Today, everybody wants to get paid, then they'll show what they can do.
Right.
You know what's been an interesting tweak in our business, and it's mostly just my mindset, but it's if somebody calls me, I'm telling people in the community, my neighbor didn't work with us, right? My neighbor bought $1 million house and didn't work with us, and his water main was leaking. And it was winter, 20 degrees, and it was freezing everywhere. And he's standing out front. He's like, "Oh, I don't want to ask you because I didn't work with you, but do you know a plumber?" I was like, "Scott." Scott, you have a problem, you call me. I don't care if we work together or not.
Right.
And I had a plumber there in 10 minutes, and it's those kind of behaviors now are valuable because I get a chance to show what we can do. And then when they move, they think about us oh, that's how it works.
So it goes back to what we do, not what we know. The frustration with the neighbor not working with you is man, I know so much. Why wouldn't that person work with me? It's because they haven't experienced yet what we do. So I think that's a really good way of summing that up.
It's kind of like the listings, how we're even if you're a year out, 2 years out, 3 years out, get us in now. And then we show them that we can help them out.
Yeah. All right. So, how to get the exact position you desire? Anything on this? So basically,
I could ask for it.
yeah. I mean, Shelly, you pretty much you summed this up. Forget about a job. Forget about whether or not there's an opening. Forget the usual routine of have you got a job for me. Concentrate on what you can give. Shelly said, "You're gonna hire me. I'm gonna be awesome for you." Right? Honestly, if anybody actually watches these videos that we do to sum this up, that's it right there. I think most places that you want to work, most places that you want to go in life, if you just march up and say, "Hey, I belong here. I'm going to be here," just like Barnes in the beginning of this book, I think it'll work. So there we go. Let's see. So heading up to page 50. What is your QQ's rating? Quality, quantity, QQS. Quality, quantity, spirit. Anybody have anything on that?
I thought
That's
spirit,
the
well, I
formula right
liked
there.
all of it, but I thought spirit was important. Like working together, which I think is something that we actually do pretty well. But I can also think of the quality of work in what we do is the most important.
Yes.
I mean, how can we expect people to work with us if we're sloppy? If
Right.
we're not following up, if we're not making phone calls, we're not checking on people. You know, how do you, it becomes hypocritical.
Yes. I had underlined the last time that I read this book a sentence here that says, if one has a personality which pleases and renders service in a spirit of harmony, these assets often make up for deficiencies in both the quality and the quantity of service one renders. So basically it says that, if you are about pleasing other people and trying to make things harmonious for other people, it overcomes the quality and the quantity of service that you give. If your heart is in the right place, it'll make up for everything else. I like that. All right, any final thoughts?
I just wanted to say,
I got,
oh, I'm sorry, Nick. You go ahead.
no, Shelley, go ahead.
One of the, I flagged this because I thought it was something that was interesting, is about taking an inventory of yourself every year.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever done anything like that in my life. And it can be really important to figure out where you stand and where you're going. And I just never really thought about that really hard. And I read that, and I read that section twice because
Yeah.
it's interesting, because it's just certain things that you just really don't think about in life.
What page is it on?
So it's the section of
It starts on 144.
140. I flagged a couple of things. Yeah, 144. And
You're
the,
probably paying this.
So it's talking about the new ways of marketing.
yeah.
Yeah.
We should print this and hang it.
What?
The
Questionnaire.
28 questions.
28 questions. Yeah.
That's on 144.
Yeah. 145.
I have a different version.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Self-analysis questionnaire. Take an
Yes.
inventory of yourself. 28 questions you should answer. I don't know that I have that in my book at all. Oh wait,
Seriously?
yeah, 30 pages called.
Do the self-analysis.
Let's
On
see.
the organized planning?
Take an inventory of yourself. It's 160 for me.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yep, 28 questions you should answer. So look, you can see the last time I read the book,
You answered them?
I went through and wrote and answered them. So I'll be curious when I get to this, because obviously we're on different pages. But I'll be curious when I get to this to see, how this compares to
Now.
now. So it's been probably about a year since I read this. All right, cool. We'll wrap up with that. We are now reading to page 164 in my book, at least. I don't know where that puts you in your book. Where does this chapter
In
end?
the chapter for you?
This